Blessings. Welcome forward to Reasonings right here at Tree of Life. I am the Great Owl, and today I'm just going to be talking about what is a touchy topic to some degree, and also something that's necessary to be spoken about and examined in our own right as well. Because we find that this is the time as we move forward, information, experience, and the age has come to this. So we're going to talk about cultural appropriations and indigenous heritage, or cultural appropriations of indigenous culture and heritage. So first I gotta say, children of the Amaru, the Copper Amerindian people of the Americas, have been very much appropriated into the Mongolian heritage. And you know, one of the things we have to talk about is this experience anthropologically and seek through the anthropological knowledge to understand what exactly happened to our people. So first of all, in anthropology they group humans into a specific group type, and the Afrocoid, which is more than just to say the African, but a specific type of people, Aboriginal. And so the Afrocoid skulls are the oldest skulls found in the Americas, and even more than this, the history of the Americas is far more diverse and has gone on for hundreds of thousands of years, and certainly recorded for more than 70,000 years or thereabouts. And so because geographically a new world started 500 years ago with the emergence of this new world order, and it caused a kind of a shift in the way it designed a potentate and how the vassal states changed, in context. And so this new world system 500 years ago kind of smashed previous historical, evident and knowledge-based experience of the peoples, the regions, and the region's connection to heritage and what we now call the anthropological, geographical and linguistical heritage of an area. And so this evidence clearly shows that the Afrocoid's culture is the culture that has been here the longest, not just from the skulls and the funerary rites, how we buried ourselves, how we structured the society, from the Mayan societies to the Incas to the Olmecs. All these societies are indigenous Indian societies that has nothing to do with the Indus Kush. But over time, the history of the planet was really one. And so as a nation state, and nation states, peoples, kindred and tongue, based upon one geographical landmass, the cultures in the early Americas and the early plain of Rodinia reflected the connections of the people. And so coming out of this Paleolithic into the current Neolithic periods, and the Stone Age into what is now called the age of history and information, and now we're in technology, the hunter-gatherers that came in 8,000 to 9,000 years ago, the Mongolians, destroyed a lot of the agricultural heritage and history of the early Amaru. And such because the first people of the Amaru weren't really weren't really the hunter-gatherer, but really were gatherers unto agriculturalists, gardeners unto farmers. You find that the heritage of the Americas is not properly spoken about. And so the hijacking by the Mongolian culture through not just interbreeding but really downright cultural appropriations, because if you examine the rites historically, anthropologically, you can see what rites of passage of being, of nature, of existence started amongst agrarian, agricultural, gardener-minded people versus what started amongst the hunter-gatherer people. So how is it that the Afrocoid, the Amaru, the first peoples came to be dominated by the Mongolians long before the Europeans came? Well, first of all, if you understand anything about anthropology, one of the most effective ways to chart a nation's progress is to look at their movements towards armament. And so the children of the Amaru, as a lot of time I've said in previous videos, not just in the Taino empires, but through a lot of the empires, notwithstanding you had the Mexica, who was a little bit more violent, but apart from that, most were very civil, peaceful, organized, cordial places, right? So we were really agricultural, agrarian, natural, in sync with the Fibonacci. However, what happened over time is that as the hunter-gatherers came in from Mongolia, they had to fashion weapons. Their philosophy of killing and murder, it transposed from animals to humans, and as such they wipe out the early Kuru. Not really completely wiped out, but they wiped out a lot of the dominance of the early agrarian. And you know, the petroglyphs and a lot of the stonework in the caves in the Americas bear testament to this, right? Of the clash between these two cultures coming in, and they're basically bringing a violent culture in, and as such they lived a nomadic and a kind of a life where the environment was harsh to them, and so that harshness transposed into the kind of culture and what they have developed. And so when you look at what they have held on to as these essential rights of being, they exist, Kuru, in other parts that they had no connections to prior to them coming to the Americas. So you can see clearly that these rights are in other parts of the earth that we were once a part of too, as well as the first peoples, as the aboriginal, the original man, the original melanated man upon the planet and woman upon the planet. So because of the passage of history and time and the appropriation of our culture into Mongolian culture into the Americas, the Inuit and the Alawites up in Canada and that part, and right down here to Patagonia, a lot of these people, you know, they have the same culture as the Mongolians in America, but then you can see differentials that you can see clearly picked up Kuru directly in the Americas and not from their natural way or disposition of being, because they never evolved in a context with such rights would be a natural evolved practice out of their existence. Anthropology, hallelujah, teaches us that. So one of the things of the now age is for us to chant forward to the clarity of information. It is your duty to seek your ancestral heritage and culture through the many, I would say, places that they've hidden it. You know, you have to recolonize the information. You have to go back into their hidden books, their reference information, and all their special diaries, and recolonize the information for your own benefit, to come out of that ideation of being viewed by another, being defined by another, because ultimately definitions are a living concept. It cannot be something that is dead, and certainly not something that is a reference in interpretation or the ideation of another of who you are. You could not use somebody's information about you to define, hallelujah, who you are. So we have to go forward to recolonize our truthful information. And as the heritage of the true children of the Amaru is rising out of us in this time, in this day, in this age, may we come forward in a true understanding of a respect of our Lokono, Taino, our Olmec or Mexica, of the true heritage that make us who we are, and give true credence to the people who live this existence, and not follow the washed down, watered down, brainwashing, mind programming. We have to come out of the mind contexts that have led us far from our actual nature. I celebrate Terut, my ancestors. The great owl celebrates the children of the Amaru, and all our divergent mixes over time does not change the Afrocoid nature of the strength of the Aboriginal bloodline, right? And it is more than just aesthetic for a name to be called or for names to be called for us to feel special, but it's actually our heritage is special. We are divine, we are loving, we are loved, we are cared for. The Fibonacci of the sequence of nature, the great spirit, the great I am, Yahuwah Yahweh, the divine presence is within us, is our life force, is our being. Give thanks, indigenous, aboriginal, being, male, female, love.